Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I hope you all had a great Mother's Day weekend. We're talking today Fear the Walking Dead Episode 5 spoilers. The episode is called Laura, as we take an in-depth look at John Dorie and the life he was living in seclusion as the apocalypse was going on. So we find that John has a nifty cabin in the woods thing going on. Living by himself, he has a water recycling unit, a small wind power unit as well, basically powering some small basic things like a lamp, and even a TV and movie player. I mean, he's clearly not going to get the evening news, but at least he can watch videos, and I could definitely deal with that in the apocalypse, if you could have time to actually watch a movie, that is. And he even has a damn moat built around his property, so the zombies can fall in the ditch work and not just go straight up to the front door. So all seems to be going fairly well with his secluded life until one fateful night, he finds a woman on the bank of the river that he's currently living on. He brings her inside and finds what looks to be a stab wound or some kind of sharp penetration wound in the side of her stomach. Of course, we all recognize this female as Naomi, the woman that Madison and the others found at that oil outpost several episodes back. He has the decency to take her in, of course, and then later, the next morning, as he wakes up and when he's out doing some work, as he comes back, she's ransacked his house looking for anything that she can use, and is out trying to start the car to steal it, and which, funny enough, doesn't even work. I gotta tell you, I like John all the more because he is clearly a decent man and a good human being, just by his actions in general, and, his decency with Naomi's character. Which is ironic because these are the ones that usually go first in the apocalypse. They usually don't make it very far, but all the same, he's doing all right. So John introduces himself, and we find out that he used to do trick shooting and lasso work for kids and audiences for fun, as well as we also know he was a police officer. So he tells her that she looks like she could be a Laura, and that if it's okay that he calls her that for now. She agrees, although being very standoffish about it all. John pegs Laura for a doctor or maybe even a nurse, as while she was trying to stitch herself, she couldn't, so she had John try to help her with that. And, being able to take that kind of pain and knowing what she's doing, I guess that was a good observation. It's obvious that Naomi/Laura has been through a lot, and that she's treating him pretty crappy considering all that he's done for her. I mean, it's understanding that she's, to be watchful for him, but he's given her no inclinations whatsoever that he's trying to do her harm. So we find out that they take a trip to a store that John goes to every Tuesday, like clockwork, and Laura decides and insists that she travels with him, even though wounded. So they end up making their way upriver. And I was very amazed by what I saw next here. This small country store that he made it to, and I guess he used to know the owner, his dad owned it before him and all this stuff, it has lots of supplies inside of it. I couldn't believe that John hadn't already cleared out this place before somebody else already had. He only takes what he needs to survive. I mean, how admirable. I mean, or you could call it foolish as well, but I'm leaning towards the admirable part, really. He even fills out a damn movie rental list before taking a movie from the shelf. I mean, more and more, I just continue to like John's character and just who he is and what he stands for. So, John has his Tuesday movie night, and the two bond a tiny bit. I mean, she's still not saying a whole lot, and but they talk a little bit, and then John falls asleep as they're watching the movie. John awakens later to Naomi watching him sleep, and she reveals that she lost her child. A small piece to the puzzle, but trying to start to help us understand Naomi's standoffishness with the world, and John as well. She got very, very teary-eyed, and then she just kind of walked off and went to bed. So over this upcoming days, John even teaches her how to fish, and then some time goes by, and she ends up healing up and prepares to leave. But before she decides to head off, the two work together to block up these railings on a nearby bridge where walkers are falling into the river and making their way down to John's house, or his little shack. John finds one of his pistols on Laura as they're getting ready to do their work, and he grabs it from her, and he gets pretty mad and says he doesn't want to use them. It seems John had originally shot a gas station robber at one point when he was a police officer. And he only tried to wound him in the leg due to the vents that went down, but yet the man bled out and died. So he moved into isolation, he says, because people thought he was a hero. But clearly, this has been haunting him, since it happened, and he does not feel like a hero. He took a man's life, and he feels badly for it. I mean, and again, very admirable, and you feel for him. I mean, to take a human life, that's a tough thing. So, by random bad luck, a small horde of zombies manage to move the vehicle, and they start falling in the river. I mean, damn stick shifts. There's a zombie inside there, which, by the way, there was kind of an interesting scene where John there's zombies at this window, which is only kind of like that plastic shielding because it's like a Jeep or whatever, and it had like a machete in it, and it actually pierces through the window, and as it's getting closer, Naomi's yelling at John to shoot it, but he won't shoot it, one, because he doesn't want to attract the zombies, and two, I don't think he can pull his weapon. He just doesn't feel right doing it. So he finally starts stabbing this thing, and then he just stabs it like crazy, almost getting bitten in the process. I just think it was kind of a let loose moment for John and some of his frustrations. A little bit confusing, but that's where that landed off. So these zombies, again, they manage to make their way into the river, and they fall in and come down to where John is now living. And so what an intense attack that happens next as they both start working together. John's using an axe, Naomi's using some kind of, I think, crowbar or like a lug wrench type deal. And as the attack goes on, Laura gets surrounded and tackled and falls down into the moat. You want to talk about super lucky. She was so close to being bit when all of a sudden John faces his fears and draws his 2 6-shooters and unloads all the bullets on the several walkers. I mean, pretty much nailing headshots left and right. Pretty admirable. Kind of understanding his background too as the lasso and kind of gunslinger method. So Laura thanks him for saving her life, of course, and for teaching her all the things, but she's pretty much prepared to leave. John offers her one of his pistols as he wants her to be safe. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, clearly he has feelings for her. And what a sentimental scene that comes next as John is sitting down watching a movie. She comes in too, sits a little bit closer to him than she normally would, and he kind of gets up and starts walking off, and she's trying to tell him to stay and talk to her a little bit, and he confesses that he loves her. I mean, how heartbreaking for watching this guy. I mean, he hasn't been around anybody in so long, finds this woman, and clearly she has skills. She could be a good person, and he does. He loves her, and she was wanting to know why he didn't want to tell her, because she was going to leave and just didn't want to cause any problems. So she kind of launches over and kisses him, and the scene fades to black. It's very cool. But unfortunately, the next morning, he awakens to find her gone. She left him a Scrabble note saying that she loves him too and that she was sorry. The boots he offered her also earlier in the episode are gone as well. I think they showed a close-up on those in the earlier episode when they were at that oil site. So a heartbreaking tragedy again for old John here. I really feel for this guy. The scene jets forward in time where we last left off in the last episode, where John and Morgan were sitting on the side of the road, and I guess Alicia and the others have already left to kind of go wreak havoc on the vultures. So they exchanged some words, just talking to each other about their philosophies, and pretty much, understanding that they're part of this world, and they need to interact with it and try and do good. And so they kind of walk off down the road as it fades to black. So overall, guys, I really enjoyed this episode. I think you probably did too. I'm giving this one an 8.7 out of 10, as it gave us some great background to John's character and his passion for finding his Laura/Naomi. Let's see. So next I want to say, I know Luciana and the others say that she didn't make it out of the diamond colony alive, but I have this inkling thinking that I'm just curious if there's a chance that she's alive with Madison. Maybe Alicia and the others think they're dead, but they're actually still alive. Maybe they were captured by the vultures. I'm not sure. Maybe they're both dead, for all I know. But I'm really, really hoping I realize this is a stretch, but it's not an impossible stretch. Plus, I'd really, really like to see John reunited with Laura if possible. And plus, killing off Madison, too. Just that seems like a big blow to have her and Nick gone in this season 4. So I feel like we're lacking a little bit of full understanding to Laura's story, or Naomi, if you will. Did she lose a son? Did she lose a daughter? Where did she come from? And also, how did she get that wound? Was it falling into the water? Was it somebody that she was with? I mean, she said that she was taught how to hotwire a car at a different colony. So these are all things I want to know a lot more about before we just say goodbye to her character. But I gotta say, with only 3 episodes left, it's uncertain if we're gonna have enough time to build in this information. But hopefully we will. So I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion and / review of episode 5, season 4 for Fear the Walking Dead. Please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to the channel. You can even hit that little alert button as well, and it'll notify you when we release future videos. But I guess that's it for now. So I'll talk to you guys next week when we get a little bit closer to the fate of the Diamond Colony. Have a great week, guys. See ya!